In this video, we'll be covering the safety and use of the Ender3 3D printers. Here you see a diagram of the different elements of the printer and the tablet controller. So this is for reference for the future if you need to know the name of any of the components, or if there's a component reference that you don't necessarily remember what it is, you can come back to this chart at any time to reference that. So the first thing that you want to do when you're printing, after you have finished your slicing and processing of the model and submitted that for printing, and you've gotten approval to go ahead and do the physical printing, is you need to go and verify that the printer station is clean and ready to print. So you need to verify that, number one, there is enough filament in the printer spool in order to proceed. Two, you need to verify that the printer bed is clean and clear from previous printing, and that the work area is free of debris and has been cleaned up by the previous user. The next thing you need to do is you need to make sure that the power switch is turned on. This is important because the printer will need to heat up and get ready to print. If the tablet is connected but the power switch is turned off, like you see here in the off position versus the on position, the tablet will power up the controller on the printer, but not the heaters or motors or anything that make the printer actually function. So the next thing you want to verify is that the tablet is plugged in correctly, so that there are two cables. One goes from the printer to the tablet, and the other one comes from the tablet to that cable. So make sure that they are both plugged in correctly. Just do a visual inspection here. Do not unplug them and replug them back in. If there are any issues with the cables, get an instructor to help you. A couple of things that you want to be aware of when the print starts is the motion system, the parts of the printer that will move. The main gantry that you see here in the middle, this will move up as the different layers print, and that'll be a pretty slow process. But the print head will move back and forth across the gantry with the shape that's being created here. Also, the build plate will move from front to back or back to front, depending upon where it needs to lay down filament. And then the last thing here is the filament spool does need to be able to rotate freely and feed filament into the system. So the printer has several heated elements that you need to be aware of. One is the build plate is heated to promote adhesion with the print. This is not something that would burn you instantly, but it is still hot and you need to stay away from it. And then most importantly is the hot end extruder is where the plastic gets melted, and this is hot enough to burn you very quickly. So be sure to stay away from the tip here underneath the print head. So when it comes time to actually start the process, if the 3D Fox printing app is not already running, you'll just tap on its icon down here in the toolbar at the bottom of the Android interface, and that should bring up the 3D Fox printer interface. First thing you want to do is connect to the printer. So you come up here to where it says connect USB and click to connect, and it'll come up with a verification message if this is the first time it's connected since the application was started. If it does come up with this verification message, hit the OK button. If not, it'll just go straight to the next step where it says disconnect here, which means that you are connected. After you're connected to the printer, you'll see a message down here that says printer connected, and also that the firmware is detected. You want to click on the prepare button here in the middle to get the temperatures warmed up. So you'll want to click on set PLA. It's the most common material that we're going to print with. Very rarely will we print with other materials, and your instructor will work with you for that. So if you click on set PLA, now sometimes you'll get a communication error with the printer, and it'll tell you it's connected but not responding. This is something that only pops up occasionally. If this happens, go ahead and click on the OK button, and you'll want to tap disconnect and then immediately tap reconnect again. You don't need to do this all the time. It's only if you get that error message from the previous step. So after you have hit the set PLA button, you should see the two temperature indicators here turn red. And they'll say off here, which indicates that they're currently on, and if you click the button, it'll turn them off. Do not turn them off. These numbers should start to rise. These are your target numbers on the right, and this is your current number on the left. So you'll see them start to rise and grow in temperature. After you've verified that the temperatures are rising and that the heaters are on, you want to hit the print button here to go over to the print interface. So we should have the files preloaded onto the SD card on the printer. This is something that'll be done for you. You do not need to interact with the SD card. Please do not. That'll be set up for you by the instructor. You should see a file here. If you don't, you can tap here. And if you tap there and there's no SD card or nothing on the SD card, you'll get this error message. If you get this, get with the instructor. They will fix the issue. So you can just go ahead, hit OK. This is what it'll look like if you have a print file. Yours should be a name that the instructor will tell you. So once you've loaded the correct print file into this area of the screen, you want to click on the print button here. And that will bring up the process of showing you progress of the print. If the temperatures have not reached their targets, it will take a moment to do that. The printer will wait until these targets and these actual values match, and then it will start the printing process. You'll see the progress indicator here, and it'll grow as the print goes along. So that will give you an idea of how much is left on your print. If at any time you have a problem with your print, you can hit the stop button. Like if something's going wrong and you need to stop the printer, don't be afraid to hit the stop button and get an instructor to fix the issue. Now that will require you to restart the print, but that is better than letting something get damaged. So once your print is complete, you'll see that it is on the print bed, usually right in the middle. The print head will move out of the way so that you have access to the print. Now it's very important that you do not pull your print off of the print bed. This is something that will require some specific training so that you do not damage the print bed. If you just pull the print off and don't do it in the right way, you'll damage the printing surface, and that is something that will have to be replaced, and it gets kind of expensive. So please do not touch the print when it's done. Get an instructor and they will show you the proper way to do that and train you on that in person. So that concludes the video on the overview of safety and use on the Ender3 3D printers.